Salam Keluarga Malaysia. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mohan Priya and you're watching Updates at Noon. Making the headlines today, legalizing land will help in upgrading of schools. Pulau Pinang Expressway crash claims another life. The Education Ministry MOE is serious in implementing the legalization or ownership transfer of school land from state governments to the Lands and Mines Director General Department JKPTG to ease future planning of school infrastructure. Senior Education Minister Datuk Dr. Mohammad Razzi Jidin said the main factors that cause efforts to upgrade schools, especially with dilapidated buildings, to be stymied were related to the status of the school land. He said there are instances where the school site is still not owned by JKPTG, which resulted in new construction efforts to replace the dilapidated buildings cannot be implemented.
Tapak sekolah kita ini masih belum dimiliki oleh JKPTG. Urusan-urusan pembinaan bangunan baru untuk menggantikan bangunan daerah khususnya tidak dapat dilaksanakan. Untuk memastikan pemutihan ini dapat dilaksanakan secepat mungkin, dan kita telah berbincang sendiri dengan kerajaan negeri, termasuk kerajaan negeri Sabah dan Sarawak untuk membantu kita dalam urusan pemutihan ini supaya kita dapat putihkan tanah di semua sekolah KPM.
He said this to reporters after attending the Baluran district-level Teachers' Day celebrations yesterday. Datuk Mohammad Razzi also informed that since he became the Senior Education Minister, the amount of school land that was successfully legalized had risen. In conjunction with his two-day working visit to Baluran, Datuk Mohammad Razzi also announced an additional allocation of 1 million ringgit to the Baluran Education Office to resolve outstanding issues that require immediate solutions to enable students in the district to study in a more conducive and comfortable environment. He also asked all district education officers to conduct school visits more frequently to identify the problems there and to take immediate action to resolve it. The National Level Steering Committee on Addressing Deviationist Teachings under the Islamic Development Department, Malaysia JAKIM, plays a role in safeguarding the sanctity of Islam from being insulted or ridiculed by irresponsible parties. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Datuk Idris Ahmad, said the committee, which is chaired by him, comprised the National Security Council, MKN, Royal Malaysia Police, PDRM, Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, and the State Islamic Religious Department. He said the committee played a crucial role in ensuring the faith of Muslims was not distorted by the actions of some who ridiculed and insulted Islam.
Kalau mereka bercakap dalam keadaan jahil, maka sebab itu kita panggil untuk beri nasihat, dan kalau mereka masih degil sebagainya, maka tindakan-tindakan akan dikenakan.
He said this in a press conference after presenting flood relief donations at Sekolah Menengah Agama Arab Yayasan Khairia near Baling yesterday. Datuk Idris said this when asked on the action of a Muslim who was alleged to have insulted Islam during a performance at a comedy club in Kuala Lumpur recently. The Health Ministry has confirmed that 7 deaths involving malaria infection were detected from 2nd January to 9th July this year. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali said that of the total, 6 cases were reported from zoonotic malaria infection, while 1 case involved local human malaria infection. Apart from that, Datuk Dr. Nur Azmi said he was informed that the cases of infection are still under control, but cautioned that the public should be vigilant and need to ensure that preventive measures are taken to reduce the rate of cases.
Dan kita telah mencapai kejayaan sifar malaria manusia tempatan pada 2018, 4 tahun berturut-turut. Jadi itulah yang kita nak ingatkan bahawa dulu kita dah buat program eradikasi malaria pada 1961 dan diikuti oleh program kawalan malaria, dan pada 2011 kita telah wujudkan satu plan strategik eliminasi malaria kebangsaan ataupun disebut PSEMK.
He said this in a press conference after officiating the national level of the World Malaria Day 2022 event at the Sultan Azlan Shah roundabout in Ipoh yesterday. In a related development, Dr. Nur Azmi said that the ministry recommended that industry players in the plantation, mining and construction sectors who use foreign workers always conduct health checks, including malaria screening, on these groups. He added that this is because they are among those who are vulnerable and at risk of contracting malaria based on research and studies conducted by relevant parties. A total of 8,376 cases of hand, foot and mouth disease were reported in Johor from 1st of January till Saturday, a 79-fold increase compared to 106 cases for the same period last year. State Health and Unity Committee Chairman Ling Tian Sun said most of the cases occurred among children under the age of 6, with 7,214 cases, followed by age 7 to 12, 998 cases, and the rest over the age of 13, 164 cases. He said Johor Bahru district recorded the highest incidence with 2,897 cases, followed by Kluang and Tangkap. In a statement on Sunday, he said so far there is only one active outbreak of HFMD reported in the state in the Johor Bahru district. Meanwhile, Ling said 75% of the cluster of respiratory tract infections, namely influenza-like illness and upper respiratory tract infections reported in Johor, involved educational institutions. He said the number of epidemic clusters reported until the 28th Epidemiology Week 2022 also showed an increase, with 16 clusters compared to 8 clusters for the same period last year. The Johor Fire and Rescue Department has deployed its manpower to monitor coastal areas during high tide. Its director, Datuk Yahya Madis, said personnel from Wah to Mersing are currently on standby and are closely monitoring the situation following a statement on the high tide phenomenon from the National Hydrographic Centre, PHN.
Nak alertkan ataupun bagi kepada balai-balai yang di pantai, dan kita pasang besar ni benda selalu berlaku tapi bukannya setiap bulan, dan kalau pasang besar biasa ni biasanya kesan dia tidaklah seteruk sangat dibimbangi kalau ada hujan lebat. Biasanya kalau hujan lebat bertembung dengan pasang besar akan menyebabkan bencana banjir yang teruk.
He said this when met after the Johor Housing and Local Government Committee Chairman Datuk Mohammad Jafni Mat Syukur's working visit to the Lakin Fire and Rescue Department station in Johor Bahru yesterday. On another note, Datuk Yahya said the department has received 8 calls daily regarding open burning cases since early this month. 4 motorcyclists were killed and 3 others were seriously injured after their motorcycles were involved in an accident involving several vehicles, including cars, at Tun Dr. Lim Chong Yu Expressway on Sunday. 3 of the 4 men, aged 19 to 25, died at the scene of the accident, whereas a teenager, aged 17, died while receiving treatment at the Pulau Pinang Hospital. Timor Laut District Police Chief ACP Sofian Santong said the dead victims were identified as Muhammad Harith Zikri Yusnizar, 17, Ahmad Haikal Naif Ahmad Nazrul, 19, Muhammad Shazwan Hakim Muhammad Abdul Sani, 22, and Muhammad Aizril Muhammad Rosaidi, 25. He said the 3 men who were injured were identified as Muhammad Hazik Haris, 34, who sustained head injuries, Muhammad Rahimi Shukur, 19, who had injuries to his face and head, and Muhammad Shazwan Hafiz Muhammad Abdul Sani, 22, who suffered injuries to his hands, legs and face. In a related statement, he said the police received a report on the accident at 4:30 a.m. Preliminary investigations into the incident on the highway heading towards Georgetown found several motorcycles believed to be involved in illegal racing. Sofian said initial investigations also found that the accident occurred after several motorcyclists lost control of their motorbikes and collided with each other. He said in the accident, 2 cars, namely a Perodua Myvi and Proton Wajah, were also hit from behind by the group of motorists. Sofian added that all victims were from Pulau Pinang and Kedah. Coming up next, historical movies holds potential for film industry growth. The Sarawak Timber Industry Development Corporation, STIDC, received an overwhelming number of trade inquiries during its participation in the recently held ASEAN-Italy Economic Relations High-Level Dialogue in Kuala Lumpur. STIDC General Manager Dato' Hashim Bojet said delegates at the dialogue were keen to explore business opportunities in the wood-based and non-wood-based sectors in Sarawak during the business-to-business meetings. In a released statement, he said the STIDC participation is a strategic initiative that augured well with the Sarawak Forestry and Timber Industry Master Plan 2020 to 2030 and the state's post-COVID-19 development strategy PCDS 2030. He said the Master Plan and PCDS 2030 aim to ensure Sarawak's economic resilience and generate 8 billion ringgit in export earnings from the wood-based sector by 2030. Dato' Hashim said Italy and ASEAN member countries had benefited from a partnership formalized in 2020 when Italy was conferred the status of ASEAN development partner. He noted that Italy is Malaysia's 3rd largest global trading partner in the European Union. He added that last year, 75 manufacturing projects worth $363.8 million with Italian participation were implemented across Malaysia, creating 4,320 jobs for the locals. The country's film industry players need to focus on the local history as well as the struggles of the past and present to ensure the industry thrives. According to Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, this could help enhance value and diversity in the arts, actors and other related activities. To this end, Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi said the National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, FINAS, could identify the critical history and struggles of past warriors that could be used as material for a film. He said it is able to reflect the real situation of the Malaysian society in the country's history, whether in the era of self-administration, colonialism or communism. Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi said this in a statement issued yesterday after meeting with FINAS Chief Executive Officer Professor Dr. Mat Nasir Ibrahim. FINAS, established on 12 February 1981, is an agency under the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia, which serves as the National Film Industry Development Agency. Following the example of the film Mat Kilau Kebangkitan Pahlawan, produced by Studio Kembara Sendirian Berhad, which collected 80 million ringgit in ticket sales, Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi said such films are able to rake in huge profits through works based on history and struggle. He described the film as a success that could lift the country's film industry to a higher level. Mat Izzat Zaidi Zalihan was in dominant form as he scored an emphatic victory in the CP 150 category at the 5th round of the Petronas Malaysian Cup Pre-Championships in Negeri Sembilan yesterday. The Petronas Sprinter Yamaha CKJ racing rider took the checkered flag in 14 minutes and 48.244 seconds at Dataran Sri Jempol. Honda Yuzi Idemitsu's Azroy Hakim Anwar and Izzat's teammate Ahmad Afif Amran claimed 2nd and 3rd respectively. Izzat started from pole position and did well to pull away from the opening lap. By the 6th lap, he had already carved a 3-second lead over Azroy, which he maintained until the finish. The Selangor-born rider, who had set a new lap record in the Super Bowl session, was elated with his first race win this season.
Syukur Alhamdulillah, 7 tahun saya menunggu kemenangan ini dalam kategori Expert SP 150 dan Alhamdulillah berjaya tebus pada tahun ini. Alhamdulillah. Target saya selepas ini di di Sepang dan saya harap saya dapatkan konsisten podium top 3 pada next race.
Meanwhile, the CP125 race in Jumpol was won by one XOX TKKR racing teammates Mad Shafiq Russell, while Danish Aiman Zamrul of Petronas Sprinter Yamaha 31 Racing claimed the win in the Wira KBS race.
Pada perlombaan tadi, saingan amat sengit juga dan saya di starting amat baik kerana menduduki tempat di hadapan dan saya cuba untuk kekalkan race pace saya sehingga di lap yang terakhir. Pada perlombaan next race nanti, saya akan cuba untuk mengekalkan seperti di Jempol tadi.
5 more rounds remain this season. The 6th round will be held at Sepang Circuit on the 6th to the 7th August. That concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story today, property legalization will ease future planning of school infrastructure. Tune in to News at 10 coming up at 10 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM on My Free Views at channel 123, or you can also stream the news by surfing RTM Click. I'm Mohana Priya. Thank you for your company. Salam Keluarga Malaysia.